Today, we're going to talk about a feeling that holds so many people back. It's this silent barrier that we all mistake for being smart or responsible. We're calling it the readiness illusion.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? That perfect moment when the plan is flawless, all the fear is gone, and everything just clicks. That's when you'll launch the business or make that big move. You're just waiting to feel ready. But what if that moment you're waiting for never actually shows up? And not because you're lazy or anything like that, but because the very feeling you're searching for, it might not even be real.
Okay, let's really get into this. This whole waiting game, it feels so responsible, doesn't it? But really, it's a trap. It's the trap of endless preparation. I mean, on the surface, this makes perfect sense. The belief is, first, you gotta understand everything. Then, you'll feel confident. And then, you take action. Sounds smart, right? But that perfectly logical sequence is the very thing that keeps us completely stuck. So why is that? It's because feeling ready just becomes this moving target you can never hit. Come on, you know the drill. There's always just one more video to watch, or one more book to read, or one more little risk to figure out. We tell ourselves we're just doing research, but are we? Or are we just finding really good reasons to delay actually starting? And here's the big paradox in all of this. The uncertainty we're trying so desperately to get rid of before we do anything, well, it turns out the only way to reduce it is by doing the thing. You can't think your way to clarity, you have to act your way to it. Which just brings up a huge question, right? If waiting doesn't work, why on earth are our brains so obsessed with doing it? What is actually happening inside our heads? Well, it all comes down to this really powerful trick our minds play on us, and that's what we're calling the readiness illusion. So let's just break this down. Your brain is literally hardwired to avoid uncertainty. I mean, think about it. For our ancestors, not knowing what was behind that bush could be, well, a really bad thing. So when a situation feels unclear, our brain sends out this signal of discomfort. The huge problem is we totally misinterpret what that signal means. We feel it and think, oh, I'm not ready. But what our brain is actually saying is, whoa, I am super uncomfortable with this uncertainty. And that right there is the readiness illusion in a nutshell. It's this mistaken belief that that uncomfortable feeling is a reliable sign to just wait. But it's not. It's just your brain's ancient programming kicking in when it faces something new. Okay, so if waiting around to feel ready is a trap, then how does it actually work? How do people really get started and build that genuine confidence? Well, this is the cycle most of us get stuck in. Let's call it the waiting loop. You take no action, which means you get no experience. No experience means, surprise, you have no confidence. And with no confidence, what do? You just keep waiting. It's a vicious cycle that just feeds itself. But here's the alternative, the action loop. It starts when you take one small, probably messy, step. That action gives you real feedback. That feedback starts to build familiarity. And it's that familiarity, not some magic feeling, that builds real, lasting confidence. This is so important. Readiness isn't the cause of action, it is the result of it. And you see this play out everywhere. The investor who analyzes a stock to death while the opportunity just sails on by. The entrepreneur who spends years perfecting a business plan but never actually launches. Or maybe the most common one, the person who says, I'll start working out when I feel motivated, totally missing the fact that motivation shows up after you start moving, not before. All right, so how do we actually break out of this loop? It all comes down to one thing, taking that first, kind of scary, imperfect step. Here's how you do it. First thing you gotta do is change the question you're asking yourself. The question, am I ready, is a total dead end. It's based on a feeling, and as we know, feelings are flaky. That question is almost always going to lead you right back to waiting. So instead, I want you to start asking this. What is the smallest possible action I can take right now? This question is a game changer because it instantly shifts your focus from some vague internal feeling to a small, concrete thing you can do. It stops being about how you feel and starts being about what you can do. And there are 3 keys to making this work for you. First, just lower the bar. Make the first step so ridiculously easy that it feels silly not to do it.
Second, use that tiny action to get clarity because no amount of planning can teach you what one real-world test can. And third, and this is a big one, expect it to feel uncomfortable. Don't run from it. That feeling is actually a sign you're making progress. And this is a huge mental shift. That feeling of uncertainty, it isn't a red flag telling you to stop. It's actually a sign of growth. It's the feeling of your comfort zone literally expanding. It means you are in exactly the right place.
So just forget about perfection. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Real success isn't built on one perfect decision. It's built on small, consistent movement. It's just about taking one imperfect step today and then another one tomorrow. That's it. That's what builds everything. So let's just call out the biggest lie we tell ourselves, okay? One day I'll feel ready. That day is never going to just appear on your calendar. It's not a place you arrive at by just waiting around. And this is probably the most important thing to remember from all of this. Readiness isn't something you just stumble upon or discover. It's something you build. You build it, brick by brick, with every single imperfect action you take. So in the end, we're left with the only question that really matters. It's not, are you ready? The real question, the one you need to ask yourself is this: are you willing to start before you feel ready? Because that right there, that is where everything begins.